Right, in the next session, we're going to talk about variables and variable assignment. That's the most basic thing you can do in computer programming, and it's something you do a lot, but it's very straightforward. There's not too much to say about it. Conceptually, basically what you do is you generate a labeled container that stores data. So here, when I say sample count equals 24, now sample count will store the number 24, and I can use that synonymously. I can say sample count times 2, and that would be the value 48, for example. And you can store here basic data types like strings and numbers, but you can also store more complex data types like containers and things like that. There are a few things to say about the conventions of the namings. So first of all, you cannot use empty spaces. So let's go to our coding example. Let's get rid of all of that. And um, let's say, for example, whoops, what happened here? When we say sample count equals 24, this will give me an error. So it doesn't like it. And you can also not use hyphens. So if we do that, if we do, if we go back here and we connect that with an hyphen, this will also throw an error. Python doesn't like hyphens. So what you really want to do is use underscores here to connect it. So that's the Python convention. But you don't have to do it, but it's considered good practice to keep that so the code looks the same and we know this is a variable and nothing else. The other thing to consider is what you actually call your variables. You can do whatever you like. You cannot use keywords that are used in Python. So you cannot say print equals 2. That would not work. That would throw an error because print is recognized by the interpreter as an actual programming command. So you cannot use that. But anything that is not a keyword in Python can be used. You could just say AB or things like that, very short, which makes it easy to write. But later on, you'll get confused very quickly. So I would encourage you to use descriptive names that that have a meaning that you can later on interpret when you read the program. And you don't always have to go back and say, oh, what did A actually mean? Sample count is very, very straightforward. And then once you have the values stored, you can reuse them again and again. And here, for example, is an example where we print things out. So that's very straightforward. We are doing mathematical operations. We add something to the sample count. If it is an integer, or if it is a string, we can do string operations on the sample count. So these are all examples of what to do with variable names once you declared them. I'm gonna give you a slight challenge here, which is kind of it's a little bit more complex, but you should be able to do it. Hopefully, we do it together in a minute. But maybe have a think about the challenges. We have sample A and sample B. Let's make this shorter so it's easier to type this here. Typing in the browser is a little bit awkward. So let's say A and B. And what we want to do is, so A is the value 2.5 and B is the value 4.8. So now we want to swap the values around. So we want to turn B into A and A into B. And logically, you can only do that by declaring a third variable. So to for a moment store one of the values in a third temporary value. So we say C equals A. So now C is 2.5 and A is also 2.5. And now we can say A equals B. So now we have shifted B over to A. So the value of A is lost here because we copied B over to A. And now we say B equals, equals C. And now if we print A and B, A should become 4.8 and B should become 2.5. Yep, so that worked. Python has actually a more elegant way of doing this. This is a little bit awkward here, so let's put this away and move. Yeah, let's just inactivate this code here for a moment. And this is actually something that comes up in programming interviews quite a lot. what is the simplest way to swap variables. You can just unpack them and turn them around. So you can say A and B equals B and A. And that works as well. So that's an elegant Python way of doing the same thing. That's just some little practice to get you used to working with variables. There's quite a bit more information here in this Colab notebook. So as a homework, again, there's a lot of stuff, so you don't have to do all of this and you don't have to read through it. And we'll go through this slowly in the labs as well. But yeah, use these resources to familiarize yourself more with these concepts and play around with the code. So as we said in the beginning, coding is praxis. So you need to do it yourself. And I'll see you in the next lecture.